Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to be looking at all the red cards of Kaladesh.
So we're gonna evaluate them for limited. So draft and sealed.
Yeah, we've already looked at the tier system that we've got. 1 is awesome, 2 is almost auto-included in those colors, 3 is good filler, and the rest you're going to put those aside. So let's dive right in with all the common cards. Our first common card is Built to Smash for 1 red. It's an instant and states that target attacking creature gets +3/+3 till the end of turn. Also, if it's an artifact, then it additionally gets trample until the end of turn. Very strong. I think this is a great combat trick to use when you're attacking. It doesn't work, of course, when you're defending, but the +3/+3 for only 1 mana, you can easily keep that open. I think it's a great card. Awesome. Very good filler.
Yeah. And with the upside with trample, it's really good. But for me, it's not tier 2 because it's still attacking creature and the artifact to give it trample, but still +3/+3.
Good
it's
filler.
still good combat trick.
Very good, yeah.
So next one, Ruinous Gremlin. 1 red and a 1/1 Gremlin. For 2 and a red, you can sacrifice Ruinous Gremlin and then you can destroy target artifact. So 1 mana 1/1, not too exciting, but I think it's pretty good because of the 3 mana destroy an artifact.
Yeah.
For me, that's why it's a tier 3 card, a
Yeah.
solid filler.
It's solid filler because you can use it still to block and then sacrifice it. So you block a creature plus you destroy an artifact. I don't think that's so bad, actually.
Exactly.
Plus it's adorable.
It is.
Then we have Renegade Tactics for 1 red. It's a sorcery. Target creature can't block this turn. Draw a card. No. It's the same as that white one that says tap a creature. Just don't do it. Just put it aside.
So next one, Fire Forge's Puzzle It's 2 mana artifact. When Fire Forge's Puzzle enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. And for 2 and a red, it does it again. So for 5 mana, you can deal 2 damage.
Don't do it.
Just put aside. For 2 mana artifact, put 2 damage. That would actually be pretty good. But now it's just way too little.
Next is Cathartic Reunion for 2 mana. It's a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Cathartic Reunion, discard 2 cards and then draw 3 cards. You think, oh, I'm getting an added card as a bonus. No, because you're also playing Cathartic Reunion. So that's 1 card plus discarding 2, which means you're trading 3 cards for another 3 cards, and that's for 2 mana. I don't think you're not getting ahead at all.
For me, it's not that bad because you get 3 cards further in your training cards you don't want, but if you top deck this late game and you don't have any cards in hand, then you're not doing anything.
Late game, you can't do anything.
Exactly, and that's why I don't like this one.
Scry, for example, you can always still scry late game. Yeah. This one, late game, you don't have those 2 cards, and you're just doing nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That is the reason why I don't like this card, and just put it aside.
Yeah. Also, it's rummaging, not looting, which means you can't first look at what you're getting to discard the bad stuff. So next, Thriving Grubs for 2 mana. We get a 2/1 Gremlin, and when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters. Also, when this guy attacks, you get to pay 2 energy counters, and then you get put a +1/+1 counter on it. So essentially, for 2 mana, you have a 3/2, which is on curve. It's okay, nothing to feel bad about, nothing great. If you're going to be using that energy counters for something else, then it's not that awesome because it's just a 2/1. But it's just on curve.
It's a filler.
Yeah, it's a filler.
So next one, Chandra's Pyro Helix. 1 on red, instant. Chandra's Pyro Helix deals 2 damage. Divide it as you choose among 1 or 2 target creatures and or players. So it just deals 2 damage for 2 mana, which isn't bad. So a good filler.
Yeah, decent filler.
Exactly, and instant. So that's nice.
That's very nice, actually. Next, we have Giant Spectacle for 2 mana. It's an aura, and we get to enchant a creature, and that creature gets +2/+1 and has menace. Now, this is actually, we don't like auras because they're going to make you they're going to 2-for-1 you when they use a removal spell to kill your creature, and the aura goes along with it. So that's actually really bad. So 9 out of 10 times you're not playing aura. So it always says aside with us. This one, however, we put it as a filler, as a tier 3. Why? Because we know that playing this on turn 3 or something on your 2/2, making it a 4/3 with menace is going to get through so many turns, dealing lots and lots of damage, and it could actually win you the game. We've seen cards like this with the Madcap skills winning whole pre-releases with these kind of cards. And this is a very similar card to that, and I think it'll actually do quite a bit of work.
Yeah, it just gives it evasion and it pumps up the power and the toughness a bit. So that's actually pretty decent.
Yeah. If you like high risk, high reward, this one could yield a very high reward. If you play
exactly. So next one, Reckless Fire Weaver. 1 and a red, it's a 1/3 human artificer, which is not that bad. But when an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Reckless Fire Weaver deals 1 damage to each opponent. So it's just a filler. It does some extra things when you play a lot of artifacts, so that's good, but it isn't great to also include it, so tier 3.
It's just a blocker that every now and then is also doing damage.
Yeah.
So, pretty good. I wouldn't feel bad playing that. Next we have Weld Fast Monitor for 3 mana. It is a 3/2, so it's right on curve. That's fine. And then for 1 red, we can give it Menace until the end of the turn. And we know Menace is very, very good. Very strong. We already talked about that before. So this guy being able to be played in any deck is an okay filler. And this one, I think the Menace, of course, makes it much better, but it still doesn't push it up to tier 2. It's not an auto-include.
No, it isn't.
It's just not an auto-include, but man, is it good in red. High tier 3.
Yeah. So, Welding Sparks. 2 and a red, instant. Welding Sparks deals X damage to target creature, where X is 3 plus the number of artifacts you control. So, if you don't have any artifacts, it's 3 mana, deals 3 damage to target creature, which is already actually pretty good.
Fine, yeah.
And if you play more artifacts, it just deals a ton of damage. So tier 2 auto include.
Yeah, exactly. Pushes if you got a couple of these and some artifacts, then it pushes you into red.
Exactly.
Definitely. Salivating Gremlins for 3 mana. It's a 2/3 gremlin, and whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it's gonna get +2, +0, and trample to the end of turn. So even if only 1 artifact comes in, then it is a 4/3 with trample. That's gonna be tough to block. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with all the fabricates, just get a couple fabricate servo tokens, then it just gets
out
really
of control.
big.
So actually a very decent filler, and if you don't have artifacts coming in that turn, then it's still a 2/3 for 3. Very strong. Yeah, high tier 3, very good filler.
So Spireside Infiltrator, 2 and a red, it's a 3/2 human rogue, and whenever he comes taps, it deals 3 damage to each opponent.
1 damage.
1 damage to each opponent. So it's a 3/2, which isn't that bad. And when he attacks, it already deals 1 damage to the opponent. So that's actually pretty good. And when he cruise, it still deals a damage.
Yeah, so it's great with the vehicles. If you don't have the vehicle, then you're not feeling bad. So it's actually okay filler.
Yeah, it's also auto damage. And then, so it does a damage and then it trades with maybe a 2/2, 3/3 or something like that. But it still did the damage and did its job.
It will not make you feel bad, this one. Decent filler.
Decent filler, yeah.
Hijack is next for 3 mana, of which 2 have to be red. It's a sorcery. We get to gain control target artifact or creature until the end of turn. Then we untap it and gains haste until the end of turn. So essentially we get the best thing of our opponent. We say, can I just borrow that for just 1 moment? I'm going to untap it. I'm going to attack you with it. You see what you do with it. If you want to kill it, that's fine. If you don't attack it, you take the damage. That's cool. Later, I'm going to give it back to you. It's going to be okay. That's basically what you're doing with this. I really like these kind of effects just because there could be a situation where you're behind and they play something amazing, you say, and being able to use that for just 1 turn can end the game. Of course, if they don't, if they have a lot of just small things and they try and kill you going wide, then it doesn't do that much. However, I think a lot of pre-releases and limited games are won by the bombs that people have. And this one, we'll just borrow that one for a second. It's only 3 mana. I think it's a great deal. Tier 3 filler. Wouldn't say auto include because I'd rather just remove the creature in essence.
Yeah, but still, it's a good filler if you don't have anything.
Yeah, kind of like a removal, but different.
Yeah. So Terror of the Vagrants, 3 and a red. It's a 5/2 gremlin. I don't like the 4 mana. It's a lot of power, but a 2 toughness. It trades with a 1 or 2 mana creature, so that's why I don't like it. Just put aside.
Yeah, no good. Don't do it. Next we have Spontaneous Artist for 4 mana. We get a 3/3. I think 3 power and 3 toughness for 4 is fine. That's great on curve. This human rogue, when he enters the battlefield, you get an energy counter. Okay, and you can also pay an energy counter to give a target creature haste until the end of the turn. So actually, now we're talking. This guy for 4 mana, we get a 3/3 with haste. That's much better already. Or you can save it and say, I'm gonna wait till my bomb comes in, or my cool big flyer, and I'm gonna give that guy haste. And that is actually pretty cool. I would say a very high tier 3. Good filler. Solid.
Yeah, so the next one, Demolish. 3 in a red, sorcery, destroy target artifact or land. I just want to put it aside because you have a lot of artifacts you want to hit, but for 4 mana, if you really need to play it, then just play it as sideboard, because if someone has a lot of artifacts. But for 4 mana, there are better things.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to put it in.
You'll have a target. You'll have a target, that's not the
Yeah.
problem. But the point is, do you want to be, when somebody is at 9 mana, do you want to be using it to destroy that land, for example?
Yeah, but also just an artifact, you probably have something, but we've seen better things.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I just put it aside. Or really low tier 3. If you really have no removal at all.
I would say just put it aside. If it really turns out that you need it, you can put it in game 2. Next we have Wayward Giant for 5 mana. We get a 4/5 with Met. See, now this is a tier 3.
Yeah.
This is a good filler right here. This is
filler.
gonna, if you just say wait that extra turn, then you got a 4/5 with Menace. That's way better. It's way better. 4/5 with Menace. That's crazy evasion. The butt is massive. 5 toughness is great actually. Very high. There's some really. The red has a lot of filler cards, but they're all really good filler cards that do what they're supposed to do, plus give you a little bit of an extra, which is not enough to put it into like auto include or win you the game, but definitely very solid tier 3s, and Wayward Giant is no different.
Exactly. So those were the comments. Let's look at the comments. So the first uncommon is Spark of Creativity. It's a red, it's a sorcery, and choose target creature, exile the top card of your library. You may have Spark of Creativity deal damage to the creature equal to the exiled card's confirmed mana cost, and if you don't, you may play that card until end of turn. So for 1 red, it may be removable, it also may let you dig a card deeper. That's why I think it's tier 3, it's a decent filler, it's removal, it digs, so it does a lot of things actually.
Yeah, the problem that I have with this card is that it can do a lot of different things, but the problem is it might do exactly the opposite thing of what you want at that point in time. And that is the one thing that makes me feel kind of like, you know, you're doing so much, but what if you're doing exactly the opposite? Then you're not getting ahead. So I would say, yeah, you can fill it, but it's one of those high risk, high reward cards. And to tell you, I don't really feel comfortable with those cards very much because I want some kind of consistency in my deck. But yeah, if you like to live on the wild side, then Spark of Creativity can do a lot.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Be a little creative.
I don't want to be. I want that. I want consistency, structure. Next one is Inventor's Apprentice for 1 mana. We get a 1/2 Human Artificer, and he gets +1/+1 as long as you control an artifact. So okay, so if we put it down for 1, turn 2 you probably don't have an artifact. Turn 3, so turn 3 you're gonna have a 2/3, which is I guess okay, but you know what? I'd rather just pay the mana for the thing to get the actual power and toughness, and not that it's gonna become smaller if there's an artifact that dies. I just don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. I mean, you could, I guess, put it in, but I would rather just play a 2/2 for 2. Tell you the truth.
Because you need to have an artifact, and there will be times where you just don't get it, and that's
1/2
why.
does nothing.
Exactly, and that's why you just. So yeah, hoops.
Just play a 2/2 for 2.
Yeah.
You don't need it on turn 1. This thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next one. Go ahead.
Harnessed Lightning. 1 in a red. It's an instant. Choose target creature. You get 3 energy counters, and then you may pay any amount of energy counters. Harnessed Lightning deals that much damage to that creature. So you've seen that with Young. It's also the same thing. It's instant.
This one's better.
Yeah, I like this one better because it's 2 mana instant. It can do 3 damage. Can also do less, and if you have more energy, it can also do more.
Yeah, this one's way better than the black one. The other one's tier 3. This one's definitely tier 2.
Yeah,
awesome.
I really like this one.
Perfect. Next we have Speedway Fanatic for 2 mana. We get a 2/1 human pilot. He's got haste, and his toughness is 1. Better have a good ability. Let's have a look. Whenever this guy crews a vehicle, that vehicle gains haste. As we discussed already, the vehicles when they come in, they can be crewed, but of course they don't have haste, so you can't attack with them right away. This guy mitigates that. The problem is when you don't have both cards at the same time, it does virtually nothing. I don't really like that, so I'm going to put it aside and just wait the extra turn to be able to crew my vehicles with something else.
Exactly. So the next one, Quicksmith Genius. 2 in a red, it's a 3/2 human artificer, and when an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card, and if you do, you draw a card. So it helps you dig when you play artifact, and for 3 mana it's already a 3/2, so that's actually pretty decent. Plus, it helps you dig whenever you play artifacts, and you will be playing artifacts because it's not cast artifacts, enter the battlefield.
Yeah, so all those fabricate servos would count as well.
Exactly.
And we all know that scry is good, we know that looting is good, we know that rummaging is good. These things are really good in limited.
Yeah.
So this guy can do it repeatedly and
So-
at no cost.
Tier 2.
Phenomenal. Next we have Aether Torch Renegade for 3 mana, a 1/2 human rogue, and when this guy enters the battlefield, we're going to get a ton of energy. We get 4 energy counters, and we get to tap it and pay 2 of these energy counters to have it deal 1 damage to target creature. Okay, so you get to do 1 damage twice, so not even 2 damage in one go. And we get to pay, let's have a look, how much is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We get to pay 8 energy counters, and then it deals 6 damage to target player. Not even creatures, it's not even removal. You know what? You're offering a lot, Aether Torch Renegade. You're trying to offer a lot, but you're not giving me anything I want. So I'm going to say, put it aside.
Yeah. So next one, Brazen Scourge. It's 1 and 2 red. It's a 3/3 gremlin with haste. So 3 mana, 3/3 is already decent. It has haste, so it's just a really good filler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had the other one that was 4 mana for a 3/3 with potentially haste. It could give haste to something else though.
Yeah.
So this one only to itself. This one's got the extra red that is required. So they're about the same.
Yeah.
About the same. Then we have Furious Reprisal for 4 mana. It's a sorcery, deals 2 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures and or players. So
not up to.
So not up to. So each of 2 target creatures and or players. So in essence, what you could do is say, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna deal 2 damage to that creature, 2 damage to that creature, 2 damage to that player, and then 2 damage to this player. Because if you're playing 1 against 1, you have to deal. If you're gonna be dealing the damage to players, you got to do it to both players.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can do 2 damage to a creature and 2 damage to a player because it's.
But you have to choose 2 target creatures and 2 target players.
I'm not sure if you have to do that.
How would you be able to do it otherwise?
Like 2 creature and 2 opponent, because it's each of 2 target creatures or players. So it's like 2 on creature, 2 on player.
I read it differently. So
Yeah,
okay, we're gonna have to at this point. Furious Reprisal is tricky. I think you can do it 2 to a creature, 2 to another creature, 2 to a player, 2 to another player. Sable says you can do it 2 to a creature and 2 to a player.
I'm not sure about that.
Or not. Yeah. Also not sure about that. Okay, well we're not 100% sure on this one.
But it's still good removal.
Still good removal. Just do it against 2 creatures then.
Yeah.
And then solve the whole problem. All right. Tier 2, just use it against creatures. Forget about the players part. Then next one, start your engines for 4 mana. It's a sorcery. Vehicles you control become artifact creatures until the end of turn, and creatures you control get +2/+0 until the end of turn. So basically, you can crew your vehicles for free.
You don't need drivers anymore.
You don't need drivers for 1 turn. It does cost you 4 mana, which is kind of steep. Of course, they do get the bonus in attack. But then it's sorcery speed, so you're not really getting that. If you're not using vehicles, the bonus is terrible.
Yeah.
Just
put it aside.
Just put it aside. Exactly.
So next one, Malfist Doorbuster. 3 in a red, a human warrior, 4/2. When he enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters. And when he attacks, you may pay an energy counter. And if you do, target creature can't block this turn. So it's a 4/2 with kinda evasion, but I just don't really like it because it isn't actually the evasion we're looking for. So that's
not unblockable.
Yeah.
It's making somebody can't block, but still somebody else can still block it. So
yeah.
It's not really going to do what you want to do. Put it aside. Then we have the last one of the uncommons, and that is Incendiary Sabotage for 4 mana, which 2 need to be red. We get an instant, which is good. And as an additional cost, you have to sacrifice an artifact. Okay, that's kind of conditional. But it deals 3 damage to each creature. Now we're talking board wipe. We're in board wipe territory. If we have 8 artifacts, then we could wipe the board. And we all know that board wipes are very, very strong, especially in a set where there's so many ways of making tiny little 1/1 tokens. So, Incendiary Sabotage, if you're in red, play it. If you got a couple of these kind of cards that are also tier 2, you are in red.
Yeah, and artifact is really easy to get, so
exactly, just sack that. And you know, if you got a servo anyway, or a Thopter, that thing's gonna die anyway, so who cares if you gotta sacrifice it first, right?
Exactly, just blow it up.
Awesome. Alright, those are the uncommons. Let's have a look at the rares.
So the first rare is Bomat Courier. It's 1 mana 1/1 construct with haste. Whenever Bomat Courier attacks, exile the top card of your library face down, and for a red, discard your hand. You can sacrifice Bomat Courier, then you can put all the cards exiled with Bomat Courier into their owner's hands. So you're attacking, exiling top cards, and then if you want to exchange the cards in your hand for the exiled cards, you can do that.
But you don't know which card they are because you can't look at them.
Yeah, so it's like rummaging.
Kind of, I guess, but
it's
bad
bad
because it's so situational when it's going to get you value. And what if it dies before you can do it?
Well,
then you got nothing.
It's only one red you have to keep open.
I don't know. Well, what if it dies before you've got less cards in hand than the ones you've exiled? How is it going to be able to get through? It's only a 1/1. I think it's not going to do anything.
It won't be. I don't think it's good enough.
Just put it aside. Put it aside. Then we have Pia Nalar for 3 mana. It's a legendary human artificer. It's a 2/2, and this is the mother of Chandra.
Yeah.
And when Pia Nalar enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 Thopter artifact creature token with flying. So this is not a servo. This is one of those 1/1 flyers. That's pretty cool. So she comes in. So she's essentially for 3 mana, you get 3 power and toughness, of which one is in the air and on another body. It's pretty good. We can pay for 2 mana, target artifact creature gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. So she's got a little bit more expensive fire breathing, which works on artifacts. So she can make her little Thopter breathe fire, which is pretty cool. And we can pay a color generic mana and sacrifice an artifact. Target creature can't block this turn. So you got a way to sacrifice some of your extra ones to make your big fatty get through, which I think actually is a lot of cool stuff that she does for the mother of Chandra. We see as well that so this is tier 2 already. It's very strong. Auto include just by itself. It's already attacking with that flyer. That's unblockable, dealing tons of damage. It doesn't have space for the flavored text because obviously in the story, Chandra's I'm laughing, but it's terribly sad. Chandra's mother's still alive, but her father, of course, isn't anymore. So over here you see her looking, contemplating into the sunset, and of course the flavor text could be, "You always think you'll have more time." So let's just mentally add that to the card. It's so tragic. But it is a wonderful card and a great tribute to this mother of the Planeswalker.
Yeah. So next one, Latnu Hellion. 2 and a red, a 4/4 with haste. So that's actually really good. So what's the downside? You enter the it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters.
It's a terrible downside.
It is.
It's terrible. I can't believe they added that.
Yeah. But at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice Latnu Hellion unless you pay 2 energy counters. So for 3 mana you can attack twice with a 4/4. I don't think I'm really sad about attacking twice with a 4/4 for 3 mana.
You're going to be removing 2 things. So it's basically remove 2 things, kill 2 things, and or deal 8 damage.
Yeah.
That's sick for 3 mana. 3 mana is not a lot. I mean, if it would be for 4 mana, then we're talking a different story.
Yeah.
And what if you have something else that gives you, that happened to have given you another 2? Then you get to attack again.
You have to attack again.
It is strong. It is strong.
Yeah.
Unlike the blue one, which costs you 5 mana, this thing's only 3. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's gonna be doing tons and tons of damage. And plus, it's a surprise because it's haste as well. I really like it. Tier 2, absolutely.
Exactly.
Madcap Experiment. Then we have for 4 mana, it's a sorcery. We have to reveal cards from the top of our library until we reveal an artifact card. And we get to put that one onto the battlefield, rest of the bottom, bottom of our library in a random order. And this guy then deals damage to you equal to the cards revealed until you got that artifact card. So in Constructed, you could probably figure out a really cool way to cheat in all these super awesome, powerful artifacts. In Limited, you're probably going to be like, oh, I hope after card 10 I got my whole artifact that deals 10 damage to you or something. It's going to make you feel real bad, so just put that aside.
Yeah, and if it's a random artifact that you really don't need, then you just pay 4 mana for it.
I got that 2/2 artifact and I get to put down a 1/1 or something. I don't do it.
So the next one, Territorial Gorger. It's a 3 and a red. It's 2/2 Gambling with Trample. But whenever you get 1 or more energy counters, Territorial Gorger get +2/+2 until end of turn. So it doesn't get more for every instance you get more of it. So if you get 2 energy counters at once, it only gets 2 plus 2 plus 2.
Yeah.
But I think that's good enough.
And it's got trample, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty strong. I think tier 2 or is it tier 3?
I think it's a tier 3, a good filler, because there are a lot of energy counters. If you have a lot of energy counters, then just put it in.
Yeah.
But because you really need to have more energy counters, and it doesn't stack with the more energy counters you get at once, it doesn't get more bigger.
Then it would have been tier 2, but it's as it is tier 3.
Exactly.
Okay, next one we have Fateful Showdown for 4 mana. It's an instant, and whenever Fateful Showdown deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of cards in your hand, and then we discard all the cards and we get to draw that many cards. So essentially it's going to be replacing the cards in our hand, plus we're also going to be dealing a few points of damage. The question is, if you get this late game, if you top deck this, what are you doing then?
0 damage.
You're so sad.
And you draw 0 cards.
So at the beginning it could be good removal, but then late it doesn't do anything. And you know what? Late game, that's when you got to be making changes. That's when you got to turn the game around. And that's exactly when it does nothing. So I would say Fateful Showdown, goodbye. We're going to put you aside.
So the last rare, Skyship Stalker. 2 and 2 red. It's a 3/3 dragon with flying and it's 3 abilities. A red Skyship Stalker gets +1, +0 until end of turn.
Fire breathing.
And for red it gets first strike until end of turn, and for red it gets haste until end of turn. So if you get it later, you just give it haste, attack, it get blocked, fire breathing, first strike. It's just so good.
It's amazing.
It is.
And it looks like a tiger.
It is. It's a little tiger dragon.
It's so little. This thing 3/3 flyer for 4. That's already
smaller than a crocodile.
That's true. So early game it's amazing, and late game it's amazing. This card will win you the game tier 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. Thing of beauty. Let's have a look at the mythics.
So the first mythic is Chandra, Torch of Defiance. 2 and 2 red. Planeswalker, 4 loyalty. It's 2 + 1s. The first one is exile the top card of your library. You may cast that card, and if you don't, Chandra Torch of Defiance deals 2 damage to each opponent. So it does 2 opponents to a it does 2 damage to opponent, or draws your card, which isn't that bad.
Drawing a card probably better.
Yeah. Exactly. So the second one is add 2 red to your mana pool, which just ramps you, gets you to your bomb, also pretty good.
Yeah.
-3, Chandra Torch of Defiance deals 4 damage to target creature. You can do this immediately. So enters the battlefield, deals 3 damage, and it still has 1 loyalty counter left.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice. And the ult, you're probably not going to use this, but the -7, you get an emblem with whenever you cast the spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player.
Game over.
Exactly. Anything you play does 5 damage.
Yeah, this is insane. This Planeswalker for red is one of the best ones I've ever seen in red. I mean, for 4 mana, it comes in relatively early. It can immediately protect itself by blowing something up. It can immediately start drawing you cards, or it can immediately start ramping you up into other big stuff later on. So I really like it. It's good early, it's good late. It's awesome.
Exactly.
Tier 1.
Yeah.
Then we have our red Gear Hulk, and that is Combustible Gear Hulk for 6 mana. It is a 6/6 first strike. This thing comes down, he says, I'm going to attack, and you're not going to be able to block it because it's going to kill everything. So it's going to be attacking with impunity. Also, when it enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. Now, if the player doesn't allow you to draw 3 cards, then you put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, and then Combustible Gear Hulk deals damage to target opponent equal to the converted mana cost of those cards. So it either says, okay, do I get these 3 cards, which could have even better stuff, and your opponent's going to say, no, you better just throw them into your graveyard. So then you throw those 3 cards into the graveyard, you count the converted mana cost, you say, okay, that's 2, that's a land, so that's 0, and that's 4, so that is 6 points of damage to your face. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just really nice, just getting 3 cards, or just having the randomness of the 3 cards doing damage, and that will be really underwhelming or really overwhelming.
The funny thing is that you actually want the cards, but you think your opponent's going to make you throw them away. But the problem is you're going to get this later on in the game, and if somebody's at 10 life, let's say, they're probably not going to want to run the risk of getting 5 or more damage just from discarding cards. So they're going to get 3 cards, now your hand is filling up again, puts you in such a great position to finish the game.
Exactly, and you already have a 6/6 plus striker.
Then you're getting greedy again if you want more. Awesome. Awesome card. Tier 1. Let's have a look at the conclusion.
So, conclusion, red, there's pretty cool cards, decent fillers, we have some removal, some really nice cards. So, that's what I like. I don't think it's one of the better colors, but still pretty solid.
Yeah, I would say white and black are contenders for the best colors in the set. Then we got red coming right after that, and blue is at this point in time slightly below that. What's great about red is, of course, it's got the good removal spells, which work well. And normally, what red doesn't do very well, it's got a lot of aggressive creatures, low toughness, high power. You can't really block with it. But red now has some pretty decent filler cards that you can also just block with fine. You know, you got your 2/3s and bigger creatures than that. So actually, you can use red as your main color, I think, in this set. It's not just a color that you use to splash for some good combat tricks or something. I think it's a pretty decent color. Just not as good as white and black, because those are just insane at this point in time.
Yeah, exactly.
But absolutely good, solid colors. I like it, and yeah, there's a few cards in there that if I draw them, I'm definitely going to be going red. Not a problem. Then we're also going to ask you guys to subscribe, because if you subscribe, then you're going to get a notification when the next video is coming out. Also, we got more videos coming out. You want to check those out too. And you're going to be able to get the edge on which cards are good and which cards are bad. We've already said this in the other video, so just subscribe now. If you've gotten to this video, you should probably just subscribe anyway to see the other videos. Also, join us on Facebook and Twitter. We're going to be posting stuff there. It might be interesting. Also, if you want to comment to us, let us know what you think. You disagree, agree, just let us know. There's the easiest way to reach us. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
This is Budget MTG Decks.